This call is being recorded.
Who that? 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 Who that?
Saints fans and who-dats from all over the world, it's time for Saints News Radio with the Saints News Radio crew and special guests, NOLA Chick.
First and 10, let the story begin. It's football Sunday, the Saints marching in. We went from banging our heads to them calling us ain'ts. Now it's who that said they gon' beat them Saints. First round by, when we made the playoff, everybody hating, cause we get to take the day off. Vince and Boogie, nobody do it better. Now we on our way to our best season ever.
Who that? Who that? And the Saints are marching on. Who that? Who that? Who that? And the Saints are marching on.
Okay, Saints fans and who-dats from all over the world, it's Kyle T. Mosley of the Saints News Radio Network, and welcome to our Pressure Points show. It's time for the New Orleans Saints, who had a miracle win against the San Diego Chargers out in Cali a couple of weeks ago. They had their bye, and now we face the Carolina Panthers and a wounded Carolina Panthers entering into the Mercedes-Benz Superdome on Sunday afternoon. But we also have a very special guest that's going to be with us. She's a part of the Saints News Radio crew family. Her name is Shaneika Dabney-Henderson. She is the senior producer of NFL Total Access, y'all, and she is the bomb. But we're going to talk a little bit to her. Nola Chick, I see you there. But first, let me bring on my co-host for tonight, Brendan Boylin. What's going on, Bren?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, man. How's school going?
School's good. Can't stay on for extremely long today. Got a big quiz and test tomorrow. But I'm just happy to be back on the network. It was weird having a week off because I was pretty much off all week here at Gardner Web commentating as well. So it was an interesting week of no broadcasting for me.
Well, let me just do an introduction. Brendan and Shaneika, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Look, Shaneika, you better keep your eyes out for this young man, Brendan Boylin. And I want you guys to connect, but he is an outstanding young commentator and reporter. Brendan, she is the senior producer of NFL Total Access, man. And look, you guys got to connect. You got to get this kid an internship or something.
Okay. Sounds good.
Well, you know, I'm forever the executive recruiter, so I had to make that happen.
I mean, you are putting in work.
Excellent. Well, I'm so happy to have you on tonight because, you know, you have done so many great things that I'm very proud of you. I know Mother Hen is very proud of you, as well as Derek. But we're going to talk a little bit one-on-one with you tonight and kind of get a gist of your story and what's going on out there with NFL Total Access as well. But let's take care of a couple of housekeeping things, guys. If you want to call into the show, you can call at 504-533-8444 to speak to myself, Nola Chick, Brendan, or the rest of the Saints News Radio crew. A couple of those guys will be coming in later on at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. So we will be there. And I know she can't be on it that long, but, you know, it's good to have you on. So tell us what's going on out there in Cali these days, Nola Chick.
Well, I mean, we are in the middle of the football season. Well, not the middle, but the quarter past in the football season. And it's an interesting time around the league as you look at some of the teams that are thriving, like the wounded Vikings, who are taking everybody by storm with their defense. And then teams like the Panthers that just can't seem to find their footing. It's an interesting season so far, you know. Unfortunately, I'm supposed to not be biased, but I got to say it's hard watching the Falcons do so well. Because I'm always going to be a Who Dat no matter what, and it's challenging. But what we do know about the Falcons is that they are prone to fast starts, fast fizzles as well.
That's what dirty birds do, right? They fizzle out at the end.
Yeah. So there's always hope. But on Total Access, I think what's great about working for that show is that we really get to take a comprehensive look at the league, and we have some guys like Reggie Wayne, Michael Robinson, Eric Davis, Willie McGinnis, just who bring such a strong insight to this game. And you listen to them. First of all, you can tell that they miss it. You can tell that they miss being on the field.
Right.
But you listen to them and like their inside the locker room perspective. At least speaking for myself, I've always just been a fan and looking at the game as a fan, but when you get that inside the locker room perspective from them, it's really eye-opening when you kind of see how, even with, let's say, for example, the Odell Beckham situation and, some of his sideline tantrums and his behavior, and talking to them about it and talking to them about how things are probably playing out in the locker room after those games and the things that his teammates are probably saying to him, and them talking about, high maintenance players that they may have played with before. It's just really interesting because they, like I said, they open your eyes to things that you maybe never thought about or maybe, never really had a full perspective of. So
right.
It's been like a dream come true, I got to say, to be able to have a job where all I'm doing is talking about football all day with football players. What? Coming from, I used to work at a news network, and if I were still there, I'd be talking about this crazy 2016 election cycle.
Right.
So I gotta thank my lucky stars every day. The hardest part of my day is just trying to figure out which team storyline we're going to cover. I don't have to focus on some of the harsh realities of what's going on in the world around us. I can escape into football, so that's a good thing.
Right. Well, you came from a long way from the local news in New Orleans area, but you're a graduate of New Orleans, where you graduated from Loyola University, correct?
Yep, I went to Loyola, and I'm a proud graduate of Ben Franklin High School.
All right,
right on the lakefront.
Yeah.
That was actually where I got my first got bitten by the TV bug. We had a TV program at my high school, and it actually makes me a little bit sad that, Ben Franklin is more so the exception and not the rule in terms of what students are exposed to at the high school level, because I think about how many potential journalists could be here coming out of New Orleans, who got exposed to that kind of stuff at an early age. I feel like if I hadn't gone to that school, I don't know if I would have had the passion for pursuing a journalism career. Maybe, possibly, but it was something that I didn't even think about. I always thought I wanted to be an author, and then I went to school and got exposed to our TV program and, started learning about journalism at a very early age. So, a lot of people talk trash about New Orleans and our education system, and it does have its shortcomings, but there are some bright spots, and I'll always be very proud to say that I'm, a graduate of our public school system and, hopefully representing well for our city.
Exactly. I graduated from 35, so I feel the same way, when you look at growing up in the 80s for me and graduating from 35, I had a cousin who graduated from Ben Franklin. You may know of her, Kim Boyle. She is a prominent attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my first cousin. We grew up like brother and sister, to be honest.
Wow.
And Kim has done such a great job. She sits on a couple of college boards at Princeton. She's on the board of trustees for those guys, as well as at Dillard University and Tulane University as well. So you look at people from our educational system, they're doing some great things in this world. Stan Verrett, look at what he's done over at ESPN. And
Michael Smith, host of Sports Center.
Exactly. And, you know, Michael is a 35 grad as well. So, you know,
Yep.
we're doing some tremendous things. But the one thing that I am really proud of you is the fact that you took the initiative to kind of do something that I'm passionate at, and how I got started in this whole media realm is you created Chicks in the Huddle. That was your first venture as your own website. Tell us a little bit about that. Why was it so much of a passion for you to create that website?
You know, I have a girlfriend of mine. I'm going to call her name out, Shaneika Batiste, and she is also about as diehard as it gets when it comes to the Saints. And we get, and have always gotten pretty insane. It was like two crazy people finding each other, and crazy soulmates who found each other.
Gotcha.
When it came to our football passion. And we would go to games, we would get rowdy, we would lament, we would talk about the games, you know, the highs, the lows. We were just so immersed in it. And we knew we can't possibly be the only women who are as caught up in the drama of football, you know, out there. So instead of just talking about it, one weekend I decided, hey, I'll just explore this was when kind of blogging was starting to kind of become like a big thing. And although I'm in no way computer savvy, technologically gifted, I got on a computer and started putting together this blog, and like probably me and my mom read it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly but surely, just other people started to catch wind of it, and I started to find, and it confirmed what I thought all along, that there are so many women out there who are passionate about this game beyond a surface level. They don't just watch it because their boyfriends and husbands watch it. They watch it because they love it and because they care about it, and they know it. You know, they know football. They haven't had the opportunity to play it like a lot of men have, but they still have the passion. They don't lack in the passion department. And that was, to me, like the best part of starting that website, is that I had so many, what I called, you know, chick family members who I had never met,
Mm-hmm.
you know, people who we connected week after week as I would write about the Saints. And it was great that I had the blog going during the time of our Super Bowl run, where, and it was kind of at its peak at that point, where I met all these women who, just like me, like could not believe that the Saints were about to make history in a way that we didn't think could happen in our lifetime.
Yeah, I still am pinching
myself.
myself.
And then to find men, too, who also appreciated the fact that there were women out there who, you know, felt the way that they felt, and that they could admit, you know, these men could admit, you know what, I cried when when the Saints won the Super Bowl, or when I saw, you know, Garrett Hartley kick that game win. I mean, like, we all connected on this level, on this emotional level about the game. And that was pretty awesome, you know. I mean, I'm sure for you guys, if you've been a fan of this team from the brown bag era and went to the Dome in those games where they were like, you know, you could count the number of people sitting in the Superdome. Yeah. I've been a fan since then. So many of us have been fans since then. And so to have that payoff of a Super Bowl win, and at that time for me to be doing this blog and to be connected with so many other Saints fans at that time, it was awesome. It was nothing short of awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of magical, man, because I went through it all, and I'm as old as the Saints. So 50 years, the team has been in existence, and 50 years I've been in existence. So I grew up a Saints fan. I didn't have a choice. But the winning team that I also connected with, I hate to say it, was the Dallas Cowboys, right? So I only did it because I liked Roger Staubach. So, yeah, but I loved Archie Manning as well. Bob Pollard was a friend of our family, and we got to go to see him in old Tulane Stadium before the Saints went to the Superdome. But let's take things a little bit forward. I got started with DeuceandReggie.com was the first website I produced, and I heard about you right around, like you said, right around that time. It came up that, you know, there was a young lady who was doing some writing, and I saw that you were being featured on one of these websites. I couldn't recall if it was either the